Kanye West. Speaking of entertainers, Kanye West performs at TJPW Alexander Wang Wangamania wrestling event in Tokyo. This past weekend, West and Ty Dolla $ign performed their song Talking at Wang Mania. The event held by Alexander Wang featured fashion and musical performances. The event also saw Tokyo Joshi Pros Mizuki and Nao Kakuta taking on Miyu Yamashita and Yuki Kamifuku. This reads like satire. I am not going to lie. John, is this real?
I've read other articles that confirm this on yahoo.com and something else where...
Okay.
No, it was not satire. He showed up to this rinky-dink promotion.
Wang Mania.
Wang Mania.
Wang Mania. Fashion, music. They threw in a tag team wrestling match.
And
Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign.
And maybe one of the most famous rappers, definitely today.
Ever, yes.
For all sorts of reasons, because he's constantly in the news and constantly in the media. I do have to give him credit. What a curveball. This would be like if he played at NJCW. You know?
Right,
it's
and
just like in that vein.
I believe so. I'm with you. This comes to us from SE Scoops. Yeah. Hey, wrestling, trying to bring in other entertainment. That's as old as the first WrestleMania, wasn't it? With all the stars there. Was it Bob Uecker, Liberace, early on in the WrestleMania days?
If you got a ticket to Wang Mania and suddenly Kanye West is performing, you're probably like, what is going on? Because he surprise performed and showed up. So
yeah.
Suddenly
you're there and Kanye West comes out, and that like raises the status of the event, doesn't it?
Yes. We do have our first chat here. I want to just
yes.
pop up.
Wang Mania.
It's not about Wang Mania, but...
Did Bray Wyatt die from a heart attack? Is that right or not? I'm not sure what he passed away from. He was out of action for a while. He was hospitalized with a major illness, and he passed away. I do not know what they listed as the cause of death. But
it was a heart
yes.
disorder. And I don't think it was specifically a heart attack. I know he had a heart disorder, so it might be in that same vein. But
no pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. I might be in that same vein, but it wasn't like drugs or anything like that. It was just unfortunate natural cause.
Subscribe now. Bury the lead. It's the best.
But hey, Parker, thanks so much for the chat. We really appreciate it. You said
and
hi
Parker
here.
Colley and those of else of you in the chat, bringing up Bray Wyatt there. It's mainly a Raw thing, not a SmackDown thing, but they're bringing back the Uncle Howdy, the 6 Squadron or whatever they're calling, SICKS, so as in they're all sick. That was a big reveal this past Monday on Raw. They alluded to it a bit tonight on SmackDown. Are you yes or no on them trying to revive the old Bray Wyatt gimmick just without Bray Wyatt? Because they seem to be doing that over on Raw. With it looks like it's going to be Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy. Well, that's a good question. Luke Harper was one of the members of that stable. I don't know what he died from.
He was more...
Eric Rowan is back.
Yeah. Luke
Do you know, John, what did Luke Harper die from?
He died from a lung disorder. Something similar to Bray, really, where it was a natural causes and died at a very young age, unfortunately. Both were...
something that may... I imagine that the life they lead as pro wrestlers, being, extra big guys in just a normal human size. I mean, these guys carry a lot of weight, and maybe it puts some extra stress on the internal organs there, and you never know if they had previous conditions from a long time, hereditary conditions, or a lot of the medications either on or off label that they take because their chosen profession is kind of hard on the body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was something with the lungs, and I know it wasn't COVID because it was right during COVID, so everyone thought COVID. It's like, no, it's un-COVID related. It's not COVID related. It was something, some lung issue. But yeah, moving on. Go ahead, Dom.
Also, these are the Hardy Boys, so this is almost every major North American promotion here. The Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, who made their name in the WWE, went to TNA Impact for a while and made big names for themselves there. Then made a big name for themselves in AEW, maybe even a little ROH. And now they both show up at TNA's Against All Odds, although apparently they don't have a long-term contract with them. They're sort of being just paid for these events. But big surprise to see the two of them there. What say you about the Hardys still working, still drawing pretty good crowd reactions, at least for a TNA-sized crowd? And as we go a little more into it, tell everybody what's your favorite iteration of the Hardys, either Matt or Jeff or a tag team?
Oh, yeah. Well,
you've seen these guys maybe more than I have. Although, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I saw them in TNA. You may have seen them more in WWE and AEW.
If I'm going to pick my favorite Hardy, it's definitely the ridiculous Matt Hardy when he was doing delete stuff.
Yes.
That was way out there, and that stuff usually is terrible, but it was great. It's either terrible or great, that stuff,
He
right?
pulled it off, right?
Yeah, so I think that's my favorite Hardy stuff is Matt Hardy doing, what is that called? Not the deletion.
He was doing Brother Nero for a while,
Brother
too.
Nero, yes.
Well, I think he would call Jeff that. Was it
Yeah.
Did he call Jeff Brother Nero?
Yes, he called Jeff Hardy Brother Nero.
Yes.
I must have watched that, and that was when TNA was like, oh, this company's dead, huh? And then they started to do that and got a little bit more traction, right?
I believe that was under the creative direction of Billy Corgan, who would go on to buy NWA.
Yeah, you're right.
The Matt Hardy turn, and even the idea of a cinematic match that even other promotions started to do. I don't know if AEW did much of a cinematic match, but especially in 2020 when there weren't live crowds in arenas, The Undertaker and AJ Styles put on a cinematic match. Wasn't that the WWE WrestleMania match? And maybe they were able to squeeze another year out of The Undertaker because they were able to do a cinematic match. I think that stuff really started with Matt Hardy and this broken Matt Hardy character.
Yeah. No. Cool to see them around. I think Broken Matt Hardy is probably my favorite. How about you? What's your favorite?
Broken Matt Hardy. I didn't really get to see them do a lot of stuff as a tag team in their heyday in the WWE. They apparently were part of weren't they part of that great triple threat tables, ladders, and chairs match that put the TLC format on the map? It was them, Edge and Christian, and was it the Dudleys?
The Dudley Boys. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Tell us in the chat, tell us in the comments, what do you remember about the long and well-traveled careers of Matt and Jeff Hardy? What's your favorite iteration of them? Let's head over to, hey, we mentioned Ricochet. This comes to us from Cinema Blend. Ricochet is on his way out. So this is why we need another Ricochet. We need another Ricochet. Someone to carry on the name of the guy who looks great, even though he's putting over other wrestlers almost constantly. And maybe Michin is going to be that on the women's side. Ricochet is on his way out. It looks like he's maybe disappointed in his usage. Is he just getting lost in the shuffle? And do you think he still has enough left in the tank where he can go to another promotion?
I think it's a good idea because I think there's a lot of people right now in the WWE that are ahead of him, right, in the pecking order. And maybe they've given him a lot of opportunities. And for him, it's really probably just the tag team with Braun Strowman, and Braun's out injured. He didn't have anything with WrestleMania weekend. I saw he was at the Philadelphia Wings game, which is a lacrosse game,
Okay.
on WrestleMania weekend. So he's doing that stuff. He's not even on any. He wasn't in any of the shows. So I think he probably. I don't blame him. You know, especially as a guy he's probably made a good amount of money in his career. Maybe he's got enough stored away where he's like, all right, maybe I can go try to take a risk here.
Would you like to see him in AEW since you also watch AEW?
Yeah. I know that's another bloated roster, you know?
Okay.
They have a ton of guys in AEW right now, and I don't know if that makes sense. I do think the timing's interesting, because AEW seems like it's a bit on its way down versus WWE's on its way up. So to say that you want to be leaving, you know, why would you jump ship now from WWE when it seems like things are a little bit better there than they've been in the past?
Yes.
So,
mentioned in this article as well that WWE seems to be on the uptick. The superstars under Triple H and TKO seem way happier than they were under Vince McMahon. But, of course, if everybody's way happier and more people are showing up on the roster, then maybe there has to be a correction in the other direction.
yeah.
Some guys who want more airtime and think they have more than what they've been allowed to show in WWE go for other places. Do you think he fits the AEW style? They mentioned here that he did have a run, at least one good match, defeating Samoa Joe for the U.S. Championship when each was in WWE. Do you think he could make some waves in AEW? Would you like to see him there? Does his style fit?
His style fits for sure, and his style would fit anywhere because he's a hell of a worker, you know?
Okay.
I've always liked him, and, you know, how it feels like he's been with that company forever, though. At some point, it makes more sense to make a move, get some intrigue in some other place, maybe New Japan, maybe you know, you go to AEW. But I'm always a big fan of people pushing themselves a little bit more and trying to maybe even, you know, the indies, something like that. Just something where he's not just at catering. He's not just at Philadelphia Wings lacrosse games with 500 people, and he's like the guy from WWE waving, you know, take a shot.
Several of the performers over there, meaning AEW, most notably Will Ospreay, have said publicly that they think WWE should be utilizing Ricochet more. No lie, this is from X, Twitter, no lie, I for real think it's time for WWE to let Ricochet show what he's got on the mic. And of course, this was earlier this month, and it's not happening. Instead, he's just leaving WWE. So, yeah, perhaps there are greener pastures. The great thing about competition in major pro wrestling promotions is that it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not like, oh, everybody's going to do their best work in WWE or everybody's going to do their best work in AEW. You go where the opportunities are, and that's a shifting landscape. I hope that Ricochet finds a landing spot and can do something.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of landing spots and doing something, we saw this guy tonight from Deadline. This is CM Punk. He signed with Paradigm, which is a talent agency out in movie land, Hollywood. This was the same ones that had signed Tiffany Stratton earlier. So CM Punk, who has a reputation as being kind of an ornery guy and maybe a little too real and raw in what his characters are. This is good news for him, that people think he can broaden his entertainment chops beyond pro wrestling. Good for him. Just wanted to mention that there. He looks like he's doing a lot of that tonight, and as much as I can't stand him, does he look like he has the chops to maybe do more than just pro wrestling?
He did a movie before, Girl on the Third Floor.
Yep,
So
and FX's Mayans MC stars heels and indies like The Girl on the Third Floor and Jacob's Wife. Yeah, good call out. There they are in the Deadline story.
Yeah, and Girl on the Third Floor was pretty well received.
Okay.
And so, at the end of the day, it's pretty cool. I feel like, I should say, it's pretty interesting that he would that all this paradigm is signing up all these pro wrestlers. I wonder what that's all about. I don't even know what that really is.
I think it may be them realizing that maybe some of these crossover appearances are going to be a big deal. Like a wrestling star makes a cameo in some other series.
Yeah, maybe they're associated with
WWE's
Netflix.
on Netflix.
Yeah, maybe it's something to do with Netflix. Who knows?
Something like that. CM Punk, of course, is popular in the wrestling world. After his return to the WWE, Punk moved more than $1 million in merchandise over the course of just 24 hours. And he continues to be near the top of the merchandise seller in WWE since his return on the men's side. This is good stuff for him and good stuff for more wrestlers getting recognized for their performing abilities. Speaking of guys who found opportunities outside of the WWE, it's the former Top Dollar AJ Francis. This comes to us from WrestleZone. AJ Francis won the TNA Digital Media Championship. I'm not sure what the Digital Media Championship is, but he won it. Good for him. It means he's getting a push. He seems to have looked decent in his time there in TNA. What say you about the former Top Dollar getting some success in TNA?
Honestly, good for him, because I think he was getting made fun of a little bit too much there toward the end. Like, he had one botch. He wasn't a great wrestler. He wasn't an evil person. We didn't need to have all that kind of internet trolling on him.
Yes.
But so it's cool to see that he kind of, kept his chin up, kept at it, went to GCW, and now at TNA. The Digital Media Champion, I wonder if that's a play on like the TV champ, but instead of TV champ, Digital Media.
Yeah, updating it for modern media. I like that. Okay, the Digital Media Champion. I like that. So when we did a grading special for Don't Bury the Lead, end of 2022, which you can still find at the YouTube channel Don't Bury the Lead, we correctly gave Top Dollar a D. One of the few D grades that we handed out, A, B, C, D, F. We gave him a D. But, like you said, it doesn't mean we hate him. In fact, we found out that he had a serious medical condition that he did not know about towards the tail end of his wrestling stint there in the WWE. The fact that he seems healthier and is doing well in TNA, good for him. I like it. I accidentally hit the play button on this TNA thing here. I don't want to get us flagged, so I'm just going to kill that because they've done that to us before.
Yeah.
And we're just going to move on. NWO, we've done a couple of Scott Hall call-outs here. There's a book coming out on the NWO by Mark Raimondi. 3 years ago, apparently, he was approached about starting this kind of thing. An NWA book. Pro wrestling is getting into the book arena, isn't it? Mick Foley famously did a book. More recently, Becky Lynch, Rebecca Quinn, did a book that was released near WrestleMania, went on a mini book tour. What say you about pro wrestling books, especially if it's in the vein of sort of a history going back a few decades and trying to tell the history and the behind-the-scenes tales of what's going on, which seems to be what's happening here?
Dom, you should never get your wrestling news from books. You should watch YouTube clips. Don't bury the lead.
Absolutely!
That should be your only source of information. Don't bury the lead.
Without question. Say hello to the bad guys, though. Good for longtime NWO fans. Maybe we'll have to do more NWO callbacks here on Don't Bury the Lead. It's kind of easy for us. We both enjoyed the Monday Night Wars 20-something years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll start dropping some more Scott Hall mentions there. But yes, hello to the bad guys.
There are some really good wrestling books. I know Mick Foley had a pretty popular book.
Yep.
But there's also been some clunkers. I think it was Ric Flair had one that was really weird, where he just trashed all these people in this book. And,
okay.
And everyone was like, dude, what are you doing? So it's, he must have just had a ghostwriter and had a couple drinks and just started trashing people. Who knows? I don't know. It was just
started shooting on everybody.
He just buried everyone. It's the
Ric Flair Jim Cornette shoot interview in words on paper.
Yes, exactly.
Very good. How professional wrestling's New World Order changed America. We know they changed the wrestling world. Did they change America, John?
Yes.
Yes. The NWO changed America. You heard it here first on Don't Bury the Lead. We love it. All best to Mark Raimondi with this.
Yeah, in improv, Dom, it's always yes. It's always yes. So for the sake of improv, I'll say yes. Of course they did.
Ed McMahon on the old Tonight Show telling Johnny Carson, when Johnny would ask him a question as a setup for a joke, and, just totally breaking kayfabe, Ed McMahon would say, if it helps the joke, yes. Just the perfect, wet blanket response there. But it became endearing after a while. So, yes. Speaking of pop culture, Drew McIntyre and Billy Corgan meeting each other. Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins. Drew McIntyre smiling politely. Do you know the callback here?
Oh, no. What is this?
A Simpsons episode. I believe it was called the Homer Palooza episode, where Homer winds up at Lollapalooza for some reason and gets to meet Billy Corgan, and then it's Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins. Homer Simpson smiling politely.
Right.
Simpson fans here, I love it. Billy Corgan, of course. This is not just a meeting of wrestling and rock, an old rock and wrestling connection here. It's not only a callback to classic Americana and pop culture, The Simpsons. It's also the meeting of two wrestling promotions. Billy Corgan owns the NWA still, among other things that he's doing. So Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins, Drew McIntyre smiling politely. Love it. Love that Drew McIntyre is a Simpsons fan and is willing to do this. How can he be a heel if he does this? Drew McIntyre has to be a babyface. CM Punk is the heel. I don't care what the crowd in Chicago says.
Yeah, right? I mean, come on. Who are we kidding here? Tell us in the chat. What do you think? CM Punk the heel, Drew McIntyre's the face, or are we wrong?
Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins. Anyone else smiling politely? I am. I'm smiling politely. A little more than smiling politely here. Mercedes Mone, huge Boston Celtics fan. The Boston Celtics win their 18th NBA title this week. Mercedes Mone was there in the crowd with the belt.
Yeah.
And her Monet brass knuckles across three of the knuckles. She's having a grand old time as the confetti falls down there at the clinching game in the Boston Garden. She seems to be a genuine basketball fan. This was not, and maybe Ricochet is a genuine lacrosse fan, but this was not like, oh, Ricochet, we don't have anything for you to do during WrestleMania weekend. You want to go to a lacrosse game and wave?
Oh, no. She's getting herself over. She's at the NBA Finals.
Yeah, and it's not like AEW sent it there. Tony Khan didn't say, we've got nothing for you. You want to go to a basketball game, and if they win, just like live stream something on your phone?
Yeah.
She seems like a genuine fan.
I'm sure she pitched. She got the ticket they pitched in for the ticket, thinking, that's some publicity with her there with the belt there.
She's bringing the belt.
She's wearing the belt.
Yep, this is just Mercedes Mone and Liv Morgan bringing the belt with them to other things.
Things where you don't need the belt, per se.
We love it. Like, there's no reason to have the Pro Wrestling Championship belt.
Yeah.
At a basketball game, but there she is. What a fantastic... apparently, this came from... I'm guessing she got featured on the big screen there, because she is certainly very photogenic. The green and gold hair... she is, of course, fit and attractive. She's wearing a belt and lots of jewelry. She's got a title belt with her. She is definitely camera candy.
Yes.
And so they put her on camera.
She doesn't look
Very
like the other
good call
Celtics
on
fan. The
She
guy
does not look like anyone else in this shot.
the guy on his ninth beer with the pot belly.
No.
Cursing out the refs,
None of this.
Especially Boston fans who are notoriously, rough looking.
They're the Chicago fans of basketball.
Yes.
Also from SE Scoops, Sami Zayn revealing how he dodged the Wyatt 6 attack on Monday Night Raw. He apparently left the arena and was not part of getting knocked off here. Yeah, so I actually didn't even know what happened. I left the arena maybe 5 or 10 minutes before all that happened. I get to my hotel and I tweet out the pre-sale code for my comedy show, and all the replies from fans are like, your coworkers have been killed. What are you doing tweeting out a comedy show? Okay, kayfabe aside. Wait. Sami Zayn is debuting a comedy show? Sami Zayn and Friends do Toronto for Money in the Bank weekend? How intrigued are you by this?
Yeah, I don't know. What? Like a stand-up comedy set he's going to do?
I don't know. Sami Zayn and Friends do Toronto.
I guess it's good use for him if he's not going to be wrestling. He's not wrestling. That's what's going to be happening.
I mean, Sami Zayn has basically been doing sketch comedy for years in the WWE.
Oh, sketch comedy might work.
He lost to the Jackass guy.
That's true. He has been doing comedy gimmicks for a while now. Especially with so yeah, he has a good idea what he's doing up there. He'll be good.
He's got the chops. This is intriguing. I obviously will not be in Toronto at the Danforth Music Hall on Thursday, July 4th for this event. But if there are YouTube clips or Rumble clips, BitChute, wherever, Twitter X clips floating around, not going to lie, I will click on anything that involves Sami Zayn and his friends doing a comedy show in a music hall. Sure.
Oh, yeah. That would be some really cheap cell phone heat. That's interesting. Did he lose his Intercontinental title to this over the weekend?
He did not. He is still the Intercontinental Champion.
So he's just not wrestling? He just go to the Intercontinental Champions taking a night off?
He did something on Raw and then left. He wrestled at the thing on the 25th.
Clash at the Castle?
Yes, he wrestled at Clash at the Castle.
Okay.
Retained in the triple threat. And then had a segment on Raw, but he may not have something to do for Money in the Bank. So since it's in Toronto, they're going to give him something to do. It's Sami Zayn in Toronto. It's like CM Punk in Chicago on steroids, you know.
Yeah, so he's probably doing kind of like what I said with Bianca Belair. He's going to do the comedy show. Then after the comedy show, he'll wrestle and do something on Friday night maybe, or even on the pay-per-view.
Maybe he'll be involved in the pay-per-view. Maybe not a title match. We'll have to see what that's up. But yes, he did retain with a haluva kick to pin Chad Gable at Clash of the Castle in that triple threat match. That also, actually, no, it was just Sami versus Chad Gable. It involved the rest of the Alpha Academy. But yeah, it was a one-on-one match, and it was a fantastic match from Clash at the Castle. So we know Sami can go in the ring. We just have to figure out what his improv comedy chops are like.
Yeah.
And if those of you are in Toronto, you will be seeing it. And one more for us. This is on Instagram. This is Hulk Hogan and someone, Frankie LaPena, fighting over getting into a tug of war with a replica WWE title belt in a bar in Florida. And then this guy takes a table bump. This is what we expect. He pats him on the butt, slaps him, and he just goes through a table. And apparently it's at a Hooters in Florida. This does not even need the Florida man mentioned in the headline. But if the belt fits, wear it. Florida man wrestles belt away from Hulk Hogan, gets slapped on butt, and falls through table at Hooters. There's your headline.
What's Hulk doing? What's he doing this for?
Does he need the money?
Hogan, come on, brother. What are we doing here?
Is this the Ringo Starr "I'm Out of Money" tour?
Or is this a I know he cleaned up and he said he wasn't drinking anymore. Is this him back on the wagon? This was his idea.
This Frankie LaPena fellow is apparently a Instagram or social media, including Instagram, star.
Is he like one of these big guys that we don't know?
He's got 27,000 likes on this Instagram thing, and it's only about 3 days old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing he's fairly popular in the medium. He is wearing a shirt that is form-fitting, although I'm not sure it's supposed to be form-fitting. The shorts are also form-fitting. Again, not sure if they're supposed to be form-fitting. It appears that he is apparently wearing a couple of sizes too small, and they are hugging his curves. So maybe he's just getting into the Hooters state of mind there. Frankie LaPena, welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. Good for you for taking the butt slap and the table bump.
Yeah, we'll have to see what your following is, because if you have a lot of people that you follow you on, it's Frankie LaPena.
Frankie LaPena, we may have to ride some coattails here.
Yo, yeah.
Frankie LaPena and the Hulkster. I'm going to play it one more time from Instagram. That belt belongs to me. No, it's not my belt. I'm the champ. Give me this. Wah, 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 wah. Fine, you can have the belt.
Okay, Frankie LaPena is a massive star. I had no idea who he was. He's got 8.8 million subscribers on YouTube. That is huge. Jesus. I'm glad you showed me this, Tom. I'm going to make a video about this.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
What a closer for cheap heat. It's inexpensive. It's above average temperatures. It's cheap heat.